This section is going to serve as a very brief introduction into VSPro. So it's going to be some theory. Um, you've heard me talking about VSPro previously in some of the lectures, and it is at a high level, it's a complete vegetation replacement for the native Unity tools. It's a very large, very big piece of software, and you're going to see this when you install just how long it takes. It is pricey. It's probably one of the most expensive assets you'll purchase. It's $150 in the asset store, and it must be the Pro version. There are some, I think there's a light version out there, but it has to be the Pro version, so you can't get away with a cheaper version. It does go on sale occasionally at 50% off, so you can wait for those sales, but it is 150 bucks. It is a better performing tool for grasses, for objects, for trees than Unity, but it's not a fix-all. So if you decide just to go, batshit crazy and plant stuff everywhere, you're still going to have performance issues, but it does a better job. So you can plant things a little denser, but not, you can't go crazy. And if you decide that you're going to use the native tools and you decide to import them and use VSPro because you couldn't get the performance right with the Unity native tools, VSPro isn't necessarily going to fix that. Okay. And there is some confusion. Sometimes people think that VS Pro and 3D Grass or VS Pro does 3D Grass. Yes and no. VS Pro can plant what we call 3D grasses, but it's more like the larger grasses, like your if you do a links course with some long, fescue and things like that, you can do VS Pro. But if you're talking about the grasses that are going to be on your semi-rough and your rough, the grass that is mowed, I would say, that's 3DG, and that's done by another program made by a company called Sticks. They're different. Okay, so VS Pro does not do the 3DG that we're going to be talking about later on. There is a bit of a learning curve with VS Pro, not because it's hard, but because there are so many options. And really, I'm only going to teach you two of the basic options. I'm going to introduce you to the other ones, but they're going to be more advanced topics that'll be either covered in Discord or maybe perhaps in an advanced section in this course. And lastly, it is a big time saver. So you're not, instead of spending, 20 hours in Unity native tools planting grasses and trees, maybe you can cut that in half. It just depends on how meticulous you want to get, but it is a huge time saver. And I honestly think it's a lot more fun to use VS Pro because what we call spawning and watching things just appear all of a sudden, and you have this big drastic change on your course when you plant with VS Pro. It just kind of happens, which is really cool. And that's it. So on to the next section where we're going to do some more stuff with VS Pro.